we look for IQ whenever we are hiring someone, right?
Correct.
But we never consider EQ. That is emotional quotient.
Correct.
So
You're absolutely
educating the employees on the emotional quotient and also help the employees as well as the management in having healthy relationships.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to yet another edition of Business Networking with Vipul Bondal on Thinkly. Today, I have a very special guest, a very good friend, and when it comes to her profession, she is just at the top. And we're very lucky that she's given us the time because I know the kind of schedules she has. Her name is Anuradha Kavuri. She is a counseling psychologist, psychotherapist, parenting expert, cyber expert, emotional intelligence, and mindfulness coach. So a lot of things rolled into one. Just to give you a little a little summary of what she's done. She has a 2-page biodata. I won't be able to read all of it. Sorry, Anuradha, but I'll read some of it. So she is done her master's degree in psychology in counseling as a counseling psychologist. She's done emotional intelligence and emotional intelligence skills profile coach training from Learning Systems USA, diploma in cyber psychology from University of Peace Australia, internationally certified cognitive behavior therapy from Beck Institute of the US, global career counselor from University of California, UCLA, and a certified youth and sexuality coach from the Tata Institute of Social Services. Her aim, she says, is to eliminate the stigma surrounding mental health, to create awareness through personal counseling in a highly secure and safe environment through workshops and trainings. She conducts online and offline counseling sessions for various causes and for various groups, including senior citizens, special ability children, students, women, and corporate workers. Welcome, Anuradha.
Thank you so much, Vipulji. Thank you so much for that introduction, first of all.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Okay, so the reason I wanted to touch upon this topic. So far, if you've seen some of my episodes, they've been very very business oriented topics. About communications or about planning or about digital implementation and so on. And the one thing that stood out very commonly in all of these conversations so far has been the aspect that things are changing very, very rapidly in the business world and in the world in general. And, and one reads of late a lot of issues relating to mental well-being, which one, reads about, sees, encounters, and so on, So I just thought I'll use this opportunity to, demystify, so to say, what is mental well-being. So if you can just tell us a little bit about what is mental well-being. And, unlike physical health, how we calculate, let's say, blood pressure or, blood glucose and so on. There are parameters. So is there some way we can calculate or figure out whether we are mentally healthy, or is there some way we can figure that out?
So absolutely, Vipulji. First of all, thank you so much for this, because there is a need to talk about mental health and also understand about mental well-being, right? So there's still a lot of stigma around it, and I'll try to address few of the concerns that are related to mental health. So when we talk about mental well-being, right, it is multifaceted. बहुत सारी चीजें आ जाती हैं उसमें. Suppose we talk about health, right? So we always say healthy mind in a healthy body, right? So whenever, just like you mentioned, if we have some concerns with our physical health, जैसे यहाँ पे दर्द हो रहा है, वहाँ पे दर्द हो रहा है, yeah, there's some discomfort, immediately you know which doctor to go to, right? So if you're having some muscle pains, you would go to a physiotherapist and then just get it treated. If you're having some chest issues, you would go to a cardiologist, just get the ECG done and everything.
True.
But the same thing does not happen with mental health, because people do not understand what exactly and for what reason they have to be going to a psychologist.
Right.
And in India, it is the system is a bit different, because first they go to a psychiatrist, get the medication, and then they come to a psychologist.
Okay.
So, but it should be the other way around. Because if you're having some concerns, visit a psychologist, get the assessments done, and then the psychologist will be leading you to a psychiatrist if any medication is required. And they both go hand in hand. Now, when we talk about mental well-being, as I said, it's multifaceted. And the psychological health, functioning, everyday functioning, and overall satisfaction. Whether end of the day you're feeling happy, and this involves a lot of positive emotions. You have very healthy relationships. एक पर्पस होता है एवरी डे कहीं हम जा रहे हैं कहीं कुछ कर रहे हैं हम लोग and at the same time when you're having challenges whether you are able to cope up with challenges and how are you coping up with it. So mental well-being when we speak about it is not that mental illness because that is not something. Mental well-being is our daily life. छोटे
Right.
छोटे stresses आ रहे हैं, how are we able to manage something like emotionally, are you able to contain it? Are you bottling it up and then thinking that you're coping up with everything very nicely? Then it is not mental well-being. Definitely, it's all the game of
Okay.
emotion.
I have understood everything that you told me. No, I mean, I think it's something that a lot of people have to yet understand. But a few things would be, I guess, if you're not energetic at the end of the day, or if you're feeling that your relationships aren't at the level that they need to be, I think that's the first indicator that your mental well-being is not exactly there. It's not necessarily mental health issues, but it's all about mental well-being. Would that be the
Well-being,
right way of looking at it?
absolutely.
Okay, great. So, in India and, in most of our part of the world, there's a lot of stigma attached to mental well-being.
Hmm.
Especially men and boys, they are told that you should be strong, be a man is what a lot of people tell their sons or their male colleagues. So, do you think this plays a role in, some of these mental well-being issues not getting tackled in time?
Absolutely. Because what happens is, agar, so for example, there is an 18-year-old boy,
Right,
okay? And then definitely that is the age that they have a lot of challenges academically, and then going to further studies, further academics, or settling in a job.
right,
So at that point of time, if he is expected to not share anything, okay, अगर वो weak feel कर रहे हैं, if he's disturbed or if he's not confident about certain things, and at that point of time, उनको बोला जाता है, you're not supposed to share anything because if
right,
you share and if you feel like crying, then you are not a man,
right,
right? And at the same time, it's not only at that age group, but कई सारे milestones men के life में या boys के life में ऐसे आते हैं जहाँ पे this thing has to be an open conversation
right,
because male and female is there is nothing that can tell that a man can feel lesser emotions than a female. So there is
right,
a recent research which has been done, and then in that they said that when they have done the research on the larger audience, like men and female, ko sabko, they had asked certain questions which actually gave up the assessment was done in a way wherein they had asked, do men feel more emotional or do women feel more emotional? Because general
right.
norms kya hai? Women are the people who are very, very emotional and then men are not that
Yeah,
emotional. So which is a norm, but recent research says that that is a myth.
right. Okay,
Men and women, both of them feel the emotions at the same level because we are all human beings. We are not superhumans. We are all human beings at the first level.
fantastic. So
But
you have in one sentence you have debunked a very famous book which said men are from Mars and women are from Venus. So we
yes,
are all, in one sentence you just kind of said that all of us are from Earth.
all of us are from Earth. Every one of us experience those emotions. So
Yeah,
आपको happiness एक चीज से होती है, मुझे happiness दूसरी चीज से होती है, but happiness is common, right?
it's common.
So the
Yeah,
emotions that we experience are very common. So
right.
this stigma around specifically in India जब बताया जाता है कि तुम मर्द हो, ठीक है,
Mm.
तुम बात नहीं कर सकते, if you talk you are considered to be weak,
Right.
औरतों की तरह क्यों रोते हो,
Correct.
okay.
Correct.
So these are the things that definitely doesn't allow the man to express himself, and then the bottling up happens inside. अंदर इतना दबा दबा के चलते हैं कि
Right.
when they reach that midlife crisis वाला age that is 40 के आसपास,
Correct.
because of the responsibility it cannot contain more, so बाहर आने लग
Then
जाता है.
yeah,
That
and
is
that
when it
and it
starts.
reflects in other ways.
Absolutely.
So it could be, any sort of outbursts. It could be road rage. It could be, temper
Burnouts.
tantrums. It could be
Temper
burnouts.
burnouts, and then not understanding like We have everything in life, but why are we not happy? Like there is no
Right.
purpose. Nothing is making me happy. I'm not having good relationships. I'm not able to manage with my family. I'm not able to manage with my work.
Right.
So it starts reflecting in all the segments of your life.
Okay. Great. Okay. So, Anuradha, let's now, I mean, we've kind of identified, what the thing is, but how does one prioritize this? How do we make it simpler for, you and I know this because we've had conversations around this, and, frankly, till I met you, I also didn't know much about this, to be very honest. I also thought I was a man. I didn't need to do all of these things. But till I met you and I realized that, it's not gender specific. It is something that everybody may potentially need help at some point of time. So that's the, learning that I got out of our interactions. But the difficult question is, how does one identify those situations? How does one personally, or for their loved ones, know that there is some issue that needs to get handled? I know it happens in schools quite a bit. Schools do it quite well, and I know you also work with a lot of schools. But I'm looking at specifically at businesses, and companies where there's a lot of stress at the workplace. And how do bosses, or maybe HR departments, or people who are line managers, actually understand that there is some issue which is bothering their people, which is outside of the skills knowledge paradigm, and this person needs external help of an expert like you? How does one, what are the symptoms, so to say, that we can look at?
So, the first thing is if any company has to, is intending to take any sort of help from mental health experts, the first
Right.
thing is they need to know why are they doing it, right? What is
Right.
in it that they are looking at? Is it
Correct.
just an initiative? Because that has been observed in few of the organizations that it is just an initiative, and then the counselor is available, and the employees are asked to go and talk to them whenever they have any issue.
Right.
But the whole thing starts when you start educating your employees about what is mental health,
Right.
right? So the first step is that. Now, identifying the symptoms. So whenever you see, for example, I'll just give you I cannot take the names, but I'll
That's
just
fine.
give you an
That's fine.
example.
Yeah, that's
So
perfect.
I'm associated with a company, and since 4 years now, it's been 3.5, 4 years now. And then the management has asked me to conduct a lot of sessions for the employees, educating them about what is mental health. And that is when, we speak about if something is bothering you, if you feel that you are stuck, not able to perform well, not having better conversations at home, or, you're losing out on certain things, or,
Right.
you're not able to give your 100%,
Right.
right? So we come to these parameters, and then we said if any of these places you're feeling that you're stuck. So there are a lot of places that specifically coming back to men again. So they have issues at home, right? But they
Right.
cannot express it in neither in front of their family nor in front of their friends.
Right.
Just having that key, how can I share my problems with someone else?
Correct.
So this the managing director who was of that company. So after 3.5 years, he never came to any session. He never sat there. He never heard. And then one day he said, "I just want to talk to you once." I said, "Yeah, definitely." So that is when he has asked, "See, there is not something that is not working for me because of which I'm not able to sleep."
Okay.
Okay. So that is the only problem I have. Everything else is sorted. Everything else in my life is sorted. It's just, I don't know what is bothering, but I cannot sleep in the night, which earlier, maybe 2, 3 years back, I had, good sleep cycle, and then I was able to sleep. Now I do exercise every day. I go to gym every day for 1 hour. I go for a walk, and then I go for family vacations. And I conduct a lot of programs for my employees, and everything is good. But it's
All
just
the
that I'm not
boxes are
able.
ticked.
Yeah,
All the boxes are ticked.
all the boxes are ticked, but I'm just not able to sleep. So, but once we started having a conversation of what was bothering him, the one thing that surfaced was he wanted to grow in his business.
Right.
Okay, he wanted that growth, which he was not able to get since 2, 3 years. Now, what happens is it is just like a meeting in your own mind. So you have a meeting with your employees. जब employees के साथ meeting होता है, there are different heads of other departments, right?
Correct.
Everyone pitches different ideas, and then you're like, okay, this is done, that is okay, this is fine. So the same thing happens. The clutter happens in your mind
Right.
when you have different departments pitching lot of ideas, but you're not understanding what exactly is the way forward.
Okay.
So with 3 consultations, we could identify that the growth. Okay, he didn't have a plan to how to grow his business.
Right.
But he told himself that everything is fine, everything is going great. And that started reflecting slowly on his relationships because he was going on family vacations but never enjoyed family vacations. He was going to gym and then he was going for a walk. Even during the walk, this was the same thing happening in his mind. He कुछ तो है, क्या है, I'm not able to sleep, I'm not able to sleep, I'm not able to sleep. So the stress
Right.
slowly creeps in and then it doesn't, and your physical body does show certain symptoms. Suppose we say anxiety. The person
Right.
shows certain symptoms. So the physical symptoms are the first indication of your having anxiety. Like maybe
Mhm.
someone might have butterflies, continuous butterflies in the stomach, or some might start, sweating. Some people
Right.
might have palpitations.
Right.
So for every problem, the physical body does give an indication. You just have to acknowledge it, address it, and then, identify it.
Okay. Understood. So, it begins actually with self reflection, so to say, because, some of these things, we may end up taking medication, saying that we have anxiety. So we may pop some pills or, so we may do yoga or, many of these things. A lot of people exercise and then they feel that their stress levels have gone down. But, while it may help to a large extent, it since the basic problem has not been identified, the it festers over a period of time. And so, does it begin with the self-reflection on behalf on one part of the business owner, or I mean, is that the way one should look at it?
Absolutely, Vipulji, because self-awareness, right?
Yeah.
You should be aware of what you're feeling. It's, as I said, it's a game of emotions.
Right.
So if I ask you, can you tell me how many emotions do we, are there that a human body can experience, human mind can experience? Just give a number if possible.
What about 50?
Okay, so what if I say no, and then there are about 2,000 plus emotions that we experience?
Wow. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So once we start acknowledging our emotions, what exactly I felt, rather than asking questions of why this has happened, why this person is doing this, why is this person reacting in this way, just changing that into what exactly has happened has an answer. Because why did someone react in that way? You might not have an answer because you're looking for an answer from the other person's part,
Right.
right? But when you ask what exactly has happened and what happened right now, that will have an answer. That is when you will be able to acknowledge what has happened with you, or how how did you react at that point of time, how did you respond to that situation, what led to a bigger mess. So
Right.
it all starts with what exactly did I experience at that point of time, what exactly did I do, what exactly has happened.
Hmm.
So that
Yeah.
is the first step
The
wherein we
first.
talk about self-awareness.
Okay, but I mean, all this sounds very nice. The only trouble is that when we have such a limited time, to be in the office, and unless there is a enabling culture that allows people to do this sort of a self-reflection, or being self-aware, unless it is so. Are there any tips that you have to foster a enabling culture that because it's only when you have such a enabling culture is when things will start coming out. Without that, it'll still get dealt in the traditional ways, or limited by whatever they understand of these things. Would that be right?
That is right, but the question is, do you think Sachin Tendulkar started playing wonderful cricket right from day one?
No, not really.
How many hours did he have to put? Any certain number, right?
Yeah, he
And
used to put in almost 12 hours every day.
that's practice.
Yeah.
So when we are talking about certain techniques, certain tips that anyone, to be effective, it should be a practice.
Right.
So once you start practicing these tips of every day night, maybe taking out some time, and then doing writing a journal, or some self-reflecting points wherein what exactly happened today, when was I happy, when was I worried, okay, when did I get angry. So when you're acknowledging the situations, then you're aware of it. So that awareness will, shift your mind into self-regulation. Then you will start finding answers for it.
Right.
Right? If I'm angry, if I get angry whenever someone says something, if I'm aware of it, then I would work on it to identify how to regulate that anger. So now
Correct.
and that is a practice. That's a constant practice I need to have. So now in organizations, if they can have awareness sessions, multiple sessions,
Okay.
in making the employees understand about self-awareness, self-regulation. It's basically emotional. See, we look for IQ whenever we are hiring someone, right? But
Correct.
we
Correct.
never consider EQ. That
EQ.
is emotional
Yes.
quotient.
Correct.
So
You're absolutely right.
educating the employees on the emotional quotient, and unfortunately, Indian academic system is not equipped enough to talk about EQ.
Right.
Like college to corporate, right? There are a lot of skills which are taught to the college students,
Yeah.
but never on the sense of emotions,
Right.
on conflict management, managing
Correct.
relationships,
Correct.
right?
Absolutely.
So this is a
Absolutely.
constant. It has to be monitored, and then it has to be a part of the system
Right.
wherein um, external people are coming and then educating the employees, and in the system as well. If they have something like a 10-minute break, wherein the employees can just get up and then some music is playing, and the few organizations do implement this, huh? So wherein the
Right.
music is played, the employees are supposed to get up and then just chill for 5 minutes and then get back to their work,
Okay.
because a human mind, when it is overworking, it's just like a, so from here to, if at all you have to travel to Pune,
Yeah.
okay, uh, maybe to Hyderabad, how do you think the car will feel or the vehicle will feel if you're not giving it a break?
Right.
It will
It'll heat up, no?
it will
It'll heat
heat
up.
up.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, but we have a radiator there, right? But why
Yeah,
does
but
even,
still.
but
But
why does
still,
it
the
happen?
radiator also has a limit.
It also has a
So
limit.
absolutely.
So the same thing happens to our mind.
Okay.
Whenever we are constantly working and then our mind is overworking with multiple things. And when we are working, it's not this work only, right? We are also concerned about other things that are happening in our life.
Correct.
Maybe a friend is messaging me right now that she needs some help, or a family get together is going to happen tonight, for which maybe your family member is giving a message asking, okay, these are the things that are to be done, what else to be done. So it's
Right.
not like one segment we are thinking about.
Right.
And at that point of time, when your mind is overworked, the burnout stage comes very fast. So having that 5-10 minutes break in between, just writing a message, that will help. And writing a small message on a 4-on-4 color card and then saying you're doing amazing today. Just stick it on the on the place or the cubicle that the employee is sitting.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to write your name on that. Just say that and then see how good the employee feels. So regular, small, very small things that you can include. Just giving a call and then saying, hey, how are you doing today?
Right. Right.
So these are small things that can bring a major change and also help the employees as well as the management in having healthy relationships.
Correct. In your experience, I mean, has this changed over a period of time? Because, like I said, the awareness about mental well-being has been around now for a while. So let's say if we compare ourselves to, let's say, 5 years ago or maybe a decade ago, has this kind of changed in a positive way
It has changed, if I may have to say, it has changed after pandemic.
after pandemic?
Yes. So during
Okay.
pandemic, this uncertainty which people were not used to earlier,
Right.
that is something which has started. And at that point of time, people started feeling hopeless and helpless
Right.
because they felt nothing was in their control. So that
Right.
is when, mental health has taken, a kickstart, I should be saying, right?
Mm.
Because that pandemic has heightened the awareness
Correct.
about mental health globally. मतलब सिर्फ इंडिया में नहीं ना, it was a
Correct. Correct.
global pandemic.
Right.
And importance of mental well-being and the maintaining overall health and resilience. So when we talk about resilience, it is not the usual resilience we talk about, it is the emotional resilience, the
Emotional.
capability of coping up with situations, That
Correct.
has heightened. So in that way, it has started. And post, everything back to normal scenarios after
Mm.
that, see, this societal stigma around mental health has reduced, because now we have students who come in, and I have, students like who are in their sixth or seventh standard telling their parents that we are not feeling okay and we need to talk to a psychologist, we need to talk to a counselor.
Oh, okay.
So when we see that awareness, that is really good. And business owners approaching psychologists, asking for, helping their employees in having a better mental health, that has also increased. And recognition of challenges. So earlier people were not that equipped to understand it because it was too fast, and we didn't have to acknowledge them at that point of time. But yes, pandemic ke dauran, issues like anxiety, depression,
Yeah, it went to a new level actually.
हाँ, so loneliness,
Yeah,
उसको बोलो या फिर burnout बोलो, because employees were working for very long hours from home,
from home. Yes.
right? With very basic things that they had,
Mm.
laptop and then Wi-Fi with four people
Correct.
working in the house.
Correct. Correct. No, I remember reading an article in the early days of the pandemic where they said this virus may not last too long, but the after effects in mental health will continue for a very very long time.
That
And
is,
in fact, there was a famous quote by uh, Donald Trump of all people. He said, be sure to see a lot of PTSD cases. Of course, he meant in relation with the people who went through trauma in hospitals and so on. But I think you're right. I mean, the amount of mental health issues that have happened as a result of what has happened during the pandemic, the uncertainty, and it's left a lot of impact, and probably we'll see a long time before it gets resolved, right?
because at that point of time, the pandemic, whatever we are talking about, is not the virus itself, right? There are
Correct.
other pandemics also, the economic pandemic, wherein people have lost their
Correct.
jobs, and then, there was this media pandemic, lot of news which was just
Yeah.
spreading throughout, and not able to verify what was right, what was wrong. Okay. So in that, the psychological pandemic was something which was under the carpet, and it has
Correct.
grown to an extent that still, like, addiction to mobiles, addiction to gadgets that we are
That's right.
seeing in kids right now, is the start is from pandemic, because now, I
Till
mean,
then, yeah, till then the addiction to devices wasn't that much,
no, it
but
was
it's
not
it's
there.
it's really gone up significantly since the pandemic.
Absolutely. So we are definitely seeing the patterns of the same continuing. But yes, economic pandemic, a viral pandemic or the media pandemic has reduced, but psychological pandemic is still, quite prevalent in many of us.
Correct, correct. Psychological pandemic is quite prevalent. So now, tell me, how does one, I mean, let's take a few questions from audiences, which is quite in line with this. So, Rashi has a question, which I think is in line with what we just discussed. She says, in what ways can businesses leverage technology and digital tools to promote mental well-being and provide personalized support for employees? So, see, the pandemic has made sure that we all work from home in by and large cases. There are a lot of companies which work only from home. So, there is the technology that can be leveraged. There is digital tools that can be leveraged. How can we leverage that to promote mental well-being?
So accessibility, right? That is something that we can, rely on. So during pandemic, I had clients from 5 or 6 different countries, not only from India.
Right.
So thanks to technology, in one way, it has helped us, being visible to people and then being accessible to people. So that
Okay.
might be one of the ways wherein you can have these online sessions with, psychologists or experts in these fields, and then divert your employees having any issue or any concerns, to have a
Right.
chat with them, because they might be somewhere sitting in US, but they can have a chat with me here in India.
Correct, correct. Okay, so actually, here technology therefore then becomes an enabler, actually, more than, so the problem as such. It's
True,
just how we utilize it is the key question.
because we cannot, even think of our life without
We
technology
can't
now.
wish it away. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. Okay, so now let's focus a little bit on the reason why we are talking today, which is business networking.
Yes.
So, can you tell us how business networking has helped you in your career? Because your profession is one where a lot of trust and faith. Not that it's not true for other professions, but especially in your case, since it's a lot of personal information, it could be a lot of information which is confidential, that needs to be shared, and therefore the levels of trust that your the people you counsel need to have in you is very, very high. And how do you think business networking has helped you in your business?
Um, so first of all, if I say, my job, see, I'm the face of my company. Okay,
Right,
so if someone is coming to me and then I'm done with the counseling process, and then I say, okay, now you can go to this doctor. That doesn't work with the client or the patient because they trust me and then they come to me. So with word of mouth, there are different. I can see that a lot of referrals are generated, but it is an opportunity for me to network with the
right,
business owners in a business networking platform wherein I'm creating this awareness about mental health, breaking the stigma. Because if I'm able to empower one business owner, maybe a director of a company, his 50, 100, 500 employees are going to get benefited from it.
right,
So that is one of the ways that business networking definitely helps. Second is collaborations. So all medical health professionals do require, right? Suppose a gynecologist. Gynecologist requires a psychologist's help because when once the delivery is done, they women get into postpartum depression,
that's right, that's right,
right? And they have a lot of anxiety before delivery. So
correct,
psychologist is like for example, in Hindi, it's like an aloo in any sector. Any doctor fraternity you look, requirement of a psychologist is someone, a cardiologist.
correct,
They will be requiring help of a psychologist because people who come with any heart ailment also has certain stress issues, stress
correct,
management. So stress management is something that we can help them with. And
right,
that is a second way we had, I mean, we can have good collaborations. Professional development as well, because we as professionals, we are so into our profession that we do not know how to grow our business. For me, it
right,
is only, the clients who are coming in, counseling, and then I'm done. It
right,
is whether we talk about branding, we talk about social media, visibility, these things do not click my mind.
correct,
But yes, business network definitely helps because that is something that will give visibility and accessibility to many more people than what I'm working on with right now. So in that way, business network definitely helps.
okay. So there's one question from one of the people on the community. So this is from Alicia. She says, many networking events can feel overwhelming. Could you suggest strategies to manage social anxiety in these situations?
Okay, lovely. So when we talk about social anxiety, there are two ways of looking at it. First, are you able to get out of your house and then the anxiety creeps in or it starts when you are in the event, or it's like as soon as you hear about the event, the anxiety kicks in and then you start
Right,
feeling all the symptoms in the body, right? So in whatever case, first thing is be prepared, have your elevator pitch ready, right? And immediately, as soon as you go into the crowd, you don't have to interact with everyone immediately. Take
right,
a pause, take a glass of water into your hand, just take a sip of water, settle down a bit, look for people, look around, first get accustomed to the situation there, then
right,
identify one or two people whom you feel are approachable immediately. Give an eye contact and then just say, hi, I'm this. After that, it is not necessary that you are the one who is speaking. Till the time you settle down, the other person will introduce themselves and then they would, explain about their business or whatever segment they are in. So till that time, you can frame your thoughts and then speak out.
right.
So for any situation, it is, there are three reactions that a general human mind gives, that is fight, flight, and freeze.
That's right.
So you You have an option of freezing and flight, but if you want to fight, then get into the situation, settle down. Water plays like wonders. It's like a magic that can happen at that point of time. It will help you relax first, reduce your anxiety, and then help you settling down and make you observe things around first, then have a conversation with anyone. I hope this helps.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Alicia will, if she's heard the reply, I'm sure she'll reply if that's helped her. Samir had a related question, and I think you covered it, but I'll still say it. So, for introverts who struggle with traditional networking styles, what alternative strategies can be adopted to build a strong network?
Okay. So first of all, it is all about how are you labeling yourself. So as an introvert, if I say there are many film actors who are introverts, but you see them working with teams and performing like superstars on the screen.
Right.
So it is a first step that you need to take, because if you are talking about strategy, willingness to speak to people. You don't have to speak to everyone. Maybe you can make a list of people whom you would want to connect, whom you would want to talk.
Right.
Maybe today, only two people.
Okay.
Write down whatever you want to speak. So be comfortable with what you want to share, because if you're doing some networking, the general conversation would be, okay, which type of business are you in, or what is the job role that you are having. So those are the things that you should be super confident to speak about. Now, don't
Correct.
try to talk to 100 people at a time, because then you will start feeling anxious, because you're not able to manage with so much of content in your mind.
Correct.
So instead
Correct.
of that, just like I've said earlier, identify two people maybe you would want to speak. If you're in a network of 100 people, 2 or 3 people a day, just give them a call and then say, be prepared for that call. Tell yourself that you're going to converse about these things. That will definitely help you having a better strategy with networking.
Superb. Superb. That's a great strategy. I mean, prepare yourself, because it's something that doesn't come very naturally, right, to a lot of people. So they need to learn these skills of networking. So people who are introverts need to plan what they want to say, whom they want to say it to, and be prepared, so that they can have a conversation and build a strong network, because that's the intent, as he says in the question. Okay, so I'll come back to one more question on business networking, and that will probably be the last question of the day. So can you explain your journey in BNI, and specifically in BNI Business Genies, to us, and how it has added value to your business?
Okay. So initially, I had a lot of anxiety to join any business network, because for our profession, when we say we are part of any business network, they would say business kar rahe ho kya. But
Right.
it is this is a service we provide. But if I want to have accessibility to many people at one go, I think BNI has helped me in that way. And coming to Business Genies, when I had joined, initially there was that, oh, you're a psychologist, okay, and okay, you're a mental health expert. And there were a few people who were just cracking jokes like, you do face reading, अरे तुम देखोगी तो मेरा चेहरा पढ़ लोगी, मेरा दिमाग में क्या है पता चल जाएगा, ऐसे डोजिंग वाला करके आओगी क्या. So it is okay, because we are used to it, that these are the things that are there in people's mind. After my 2 years of Business Genies journey, I would say that many people are open to having conversations about mental health. They speak about what is happening in their life, and they are okay to speak about it, because I always say it is okay to not feel okay. It is absolutely okay to not feel okay. And in fact, they are giving referrals from their family, friends, or for example, I just had one of our member who had met someone in the train. So person who was coming from Kerala, so that person had met them in train, and then they had a conversation. And this member had said, the girl who was there, she shared about something about her gender identity, and then how it was difficult for her to manage at home.
Okay.
And this member has said, ki, okay, you maybe talking to Anuradha might help you. And she's been coming for counseling since 6 weeks now.
Okay.
And she and the member, both of them, thanked me for helping the girl. it's like, people are open to talk to about, which is my first intent and the networking part, wherein I could reach out to many people to help more people in telling them that mental health is no more a stigma as you have your other physical issues. Mental health is also something you need to acknowledge, and then Business Genius has helped me in 100 ways in that.
Okay, so that's very interesting. I was not aware of this story that which you had just mentioned, but sounds fascinating. And like you said, it's okay to be not okay. I think that's a message which we need to carry back. You can always be okay after you speak to Anuradha, of course. So it begins with identifying that something is not okay, and we can become okay afterwards. Would that be the right way of looking at it, Anuradha?
Absolutely. So you just have to identify, and then, so it's all like a phase, right? The rainy season doesn't exist for 365 days, neither the winter nor the summer. So it's just a phase we are in, and seeking help should not be something that you should be ashamed of. And talking to a stranger like us, like an expert like us, will help you sorting out the thoughts better, your feelings better,
Right.
and will improve the behaviors and have a better relationship, have a content in life. Maybe, having everything like, okay, everything is all right. It's okay. I'll be able to manage even if something goes wrong. And it all starts with asking one question, golden question: what am I feeling right now? So once the
Fantastic.
conversation starts with that, you will have all your answers.
So we begin with asking how am I feeling right now? And if the answer is not okay, be okay with it. Be okay to be not okay, and then take action to become okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you on that note, Anuradha. Thanks very much for your time. I suggest you send me your contact number and email ID if that's okay with you, which I will then post on the community. So, in case any of the listeners want to get in touch with you, would you prefer it on email or would you
I
want a
would
WhatsApp?
prefer an
Email?
email. Yeah,
Email.
email.
Okay. So,
And
if you can send
I'm
your email
available on
ID
LinkedIn as well. So I do
on
check my
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn multiple times. So I
Okay,
think
fine. So, LinkedIn and email, if you can send, I will post it on the group.
I'll do that.
And all those who are interested in getting in touch with you can do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for your time, Anuradha, and have a nice day ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. It was like great conversing with you, Mr. Vipul.
Thank you.